Okay, so I want to thank Amy so much for coming on. I will share all the contact information, not even an issue, with the WhatsApp group after we finish. I just want to give her the proper introduction. Amy and I actually did a course together a number of years ago, and I had the privilege of meeting her. Amy is the founder and artistic director of Tzohar Seminary for Hasidus and the Arts in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She is a transformation life coach and emotion code practitioner and healer. She was previously the first theater major at Stern College, Yeshiva University, and was a professional actress performing off-Broadway. So, Amy, are you there? I feel very privileged. Amy? 1 second, let me just make sure she's here.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Oh, there you are. Hi.
Yeah, hi. How are you? Sorry, I forgot to unmute. It's a privilege to be with all you holy women who get together and do this every day. I'm in awe of you. And I want to thank Nomi for being persistent with me to get me here to connect with you all. So I think I understand the format, but Nomi, you'll remind me if there's something that I'm off on. But good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here. On this short journey today, I'll give you a little bit of my background and a little bit of what I do, but more that in context of lessons learned and shared. So Nomi mentioned to you the word tzohar, which is the name of the seminary that I started. It's been 11 years now. We're in our 11th year. And Baruch Hashem, it's kind of a miracle thing. And I want to focus on the word tzohar today. The title of this is Creating a Tzohar in Your Lives, in our lives. And we just finished Hanukkah. You know, we learn all the time about the idea of light in Torah, and how, honestly, how we can be a light in the world, a light to the nations. And, you know, growing up, I grew up in a more modern Orthodox background, Yeshiva University. And then my journey took me away because I was, you know, born with certain talents that I didn't see happening in my frum community. And even though Stern College supported that, I didn't see how to move forward. And those specifically, they were in a lot of the arts, but specifically was in the field of theater and acting. And I took a detour for a number of years where I was acting off Broadway and worked with some well-known teachers, etc. But sometimes a downfall is in order to rise higher. And Baruch Hashem, I reconnected with my Yiddishkeit and my entire purpose, I think, through, I'd say, learning more about Hasidus or Hasidut, as you might say. So one of the concepts that I've learned and which has become a big, big part of my life is something that's in the Torah, in Parshat Noach. And it's not something I remember growing up as being a focus. Possibly we learned it, but maybe also because it was early on in the year, going to yeshiva day school, it probably didn't get as much focus as it could have. But later when I learned about it in Hasidus, it certainly has a focus and insights that come from this. So the word tzohar, as I said, comes from Parshat Noach. And Hashem says to Noach, as he's telling him all the instructions to build the teva, he tells him to also to build a tzohar. Now, tzohar is not used in, many of you are in Israel, you can tell me, but I don't think it's a common word that's used in everyday life. So Rashi describes it tzohar as either a window or a skylight to let the light in, or there's an alternative description of the tzohar, which meant, he said it meant a precious stone that was placed at the top of the ark to shine its light out, to light up the teva. They're in there a long time. It's got to be dark and it's stormy outside. So either it's that window or skylight that's going to let the light in from the outside, or it's a jewel that shines its light out to light up the teva. So in naming this seminary, and I'll tell you how the seminary came about. For me, it was a long life struggle after becoming frum, and then I was already becoming a mother, a young mother with children, and kind of passing on to the next generation, not necessarily my struggles, but our chosen frum Chabad-oriented lifestyle, and also passing on some talents and traits. And so as I saw my children grow up, I said, okay, they have the same struggles that I do in different ways. I have Kenai Nahara, 2 daughters who are singers and musicians. And so I said, particularly for them, there's a struggle. So at the point when my elder daughter, who now Baruch Hashem made Aliyah, is in Israel, and I am not yet, I hope to get there. But when she was of seminary age, I said, okay, it's time to start creating this. And the seminary began. The idea was that young women with talents in the arts, and that's any of the arts, we cover all of the arts, should be able to come and develop themselves, their artistic selves, their creative selves, their God-given talents, along with who they are as Jewish women. So they don't have to give up either, which I felt that I did, at least on my journey. And that was the initial idea of the seminary, that young frum Jewish women could come. Now, Pittsburgh is not usually a place for seminaries, but within Chabad, there are seminaries all over the world. And so it became a tzohar seminary for Hasidus and the arts. And in the mornings, the girls would learn Hasidus and Torah and Hasidus. And I'm intermixing them. Depends what world you're in that you intermix them or not. And in the afternoons, they would study the arts. And by the arts, I mean they'd study creative writing, playwriting and screenwriting, theater, filmmaking, visual arts, the painting, drawing, dance and movement, photography. I don't know if I said filmmaking, and music as well. So they get to be exposed to all of the arts, which often their yeshivas don't give them. And if they have a developed talent or they're developing a talent, they get to delve into that more. So they're getting kind of a span of creativity and the possible arts that are available. So what we do as well is we focus on a lot of personal growth. They write something called morning pages every day, where they're writing kind of where they're at. It's kind of streaming out of their brain, down their arm, onto the page. And they do that before davening. So there's actually, it's a parallel to a sicha that's about the tzohar, which talks about the teva, the ark itself, as an embodiment, which is equal to tefillah. And a tzohar, and as we described according to Rashi, has the description of letting the light in, as well as shining your light out. And that there are 2 ways really of connecting with Hashem. One is shining your light toward Hashem, asking Hashem for everything. And the other is removing something, taking something out, like cutting out that board in order to make space for the light to come in. So sometimes we need to release things in order to receive the light. And that is our connection, our giving and receiving to Hashem in tefillah, in whichever way you would like to point that. So that is often what we do in some of our work as well. I know I teach improvisation. I do a lot of things that have to do with giving and receiving, and they become a mashal, an active living mashal for the giving and receiving that we have with Hashem and with the world around us. So there's 2 things that I'd like to share with you today in terms of like short meditations. And I'll do one coming up now that has more to do with my other work, which is healing work. but I think they're all connected and they all have to do with light. And in this vein that's actually, I met Nomi in this vein. We were doing a coaching course together. This is more along the lines of healing, but it is, the same kind of work. And then at the end, I'd like to do something with you that we do with our students right at the beginning of the year. So when we talk about a tzohar at our seminary, we talk to the girls about the light of creativity coming into their lives. Of course, it's the light of Hashem as well and the light of Torah as well. But the new thing for them is that they're getting a focus on creativity. So they're getting the light of creativity into their lives. And then they're shining their individual self ultimately out into the world. So it's both a receiving, again, of Torah, of tools for personal growth, of creative tools, and developing this sense of purpose and what am I here for, and then going out to the world and shining that out to the world. So that's kind of the motif that we've used. And so there's a lot of in and out. So the first meditation that I'd like to do with you this morning is kind of a cleansing meditation. It goes through the parts of the body, and you can do this with eyes closed, preferably. Excuse me. I guess people who do yoga can do this with chakras. I don't do that. People who focus on meditation with the spheros can talk about the different parts of the body with the spheros. I just focus on the parts of the body, so I keep it very simple. And for those of you who do know the connection of the spheros in the body, you can certainly adapt it to that. So what we're going to do just in this moment is a good morning cleansing in the body. And this has to do with imagining, visualizing. I'm going to close my eyes as well. And we're going to visualize a golden godly light. Now you can do this with water as well, like a cleansing of water through the body. But we're going to focus on light today since that's our motif. Okay, so we're going to imagine a golden godly light at the top of the head and entering through the crown of the head. And so see how that lights up the top of your head as you let that in. Now, I know some people are better at visualization than others. Do your best to imagine this. So the golden light enters the crown of your head, which would in the Sirot be the Keter. And imagine it, we're just going to flow it down the back of the head. And imagine that golden light flowing down the back of your neck and the tops of your shoulders and the middle of your back and your lower back and around your hips and your sits bones. So we've just kind of spread that golden light quickly down your back. So if you can imagine it now, flowing down your back, and it's just touching the back. That's all we needed to do right now. Now, as we wrap it around your sits bone, your hips, your bottom area, we're going to fill up not just the front of the body with the golden light, but we're going to imagine, and I use the word imagine here, to fill up the whole lower cavity with golden, shiny, godly light. If it helps for you to see it have some kind of texture, it could kind of be a glimmering golden light. And if it helps for you to think of something kind of kinesthetic, it can be a warming, healing golden light. But as it fills that lower cavity of your body, and we're talking about your hips and your sits bone and your lower belly, kind of your womb, it's going to fill up the whole cavity from front to back and everything in between. The whole cavity is going to fill with that golden light. And the light has movement, okay? The light can have some weight, some movement, some glittery, shiny movement, some warming sense. And as it fills that cavity, I'd like you to sense any kind of holding or any kind of debris that you might feel or notice, or any kind of visualization of, there's something in there like black soot or little pebbles or maybe just a color. And some people will sense this, some may not. That's okay. Just anything that's in there, that feels like it needs to be cleansed or brought forward is going to move up as with the golden light as it moves up. So we're going to move that. The golden light will still remain in the lower part as it moves up into the center of your belly, behind your belly button, and into that whole belly, filling up with golden light. And then we're going to move this up into the waist. And again, we're taking along anything that you feel that you're holding, any stress, any kind of debris, whether it be soot or pebbles, any kind of color. And again, everybody's going to relate to this differently. And that golden warming light is going to warm that area, relax that area, cleanse that area as it goes up and spreads up into the solar plexus, the upper belly area, up right underneath your chest, filling that up with golden light, warming light. And it's morning, so feel, well, at least here in the States, it's morning. And we're going to move that and relax the body as Hashem is filling up the body, Hashem's light. And of course, Hashem is always in us. This is just our mind's eye. And we're moving into our chest and filling up the chest and around the heart with this golden warming light. And anything that you're holding in your heart, in your chest, in your upper back, let it be soothed by this golden warming light. Okay, and now we're going to move this up into your shoulders and your upper back. We're going to take anything along with it that needs to leave your body, that needs to be released. We're going to move up to the neck. Now, the neck is a very interesting place. It's a very tight place. It's much smaller than everywhere else. We're going to move it into your throat and the back of your neck. Make sure it's filling up, that the golden light is filling up the entire cavity and everything that you've brought along with it. And it's warming that area. And it's going to move up into your jaw and into your mouth cavity and into your cheeks and your ears and the back of your head, and behind your eyes and your forehead and the top of your head. Your entire head cavity now is filled with golden, glowing light. Feel it really fill up and take along anything that you need to release. Any tension in your forehead, anything that's overthinking. Let the golden light warm and release and move so it's not stuck. Just moving it along. And now we're going to go to the crown of the head again, the Keter, and either like, I guess like a whale with a blowhole, or a more beautiful, perhaps even more beautiful visualization would be like a fountain. And when we do this with water, it could be a fountain of water. But since we're doing golden light today, we're going to be a fountain of golden light. And we're going to shoot out that Keter, that crown. We're going to shoot the power of this golden light that's just surged through our body, along with anything that was stuck in there, anything that was caught, anything that was bugging us. We're going to shoot that golden light way, way, way up with power out of our heads, straight up, way above us, so high above us that when it peters off in different directions, like a fountain does, it's going to fall away from us. And that power of that fountain, that golden light fountain, it's strong. It's going to shoot it out. And it's going to take along with your light shooting out. It's going to go in different directions and fall away from you. Another exit point for this can be if you take the golden light to your neck, back to your neck and down your arms where there's a lot of tension in shoulder and arms, into your elbows, into your forearms, into your wrists, into your hands, and shoot that golden light out your hands as well. And it could be both places at once, so that you're letting the light out. And you can do this with breath as well. And try to visualize the light being shooting out from you. Now, you don't have to be devoid of light. You could be filled with light as you walk through your day. I can't see any of your faces or anything. I hope that this has been a calming releasing kind of thing. And I use this a lot for my energy work that I do with people. And I don't know how long energy work has been used and utilized in the frum world. I know for me, it's been a recent thing. And what's really, really struck me is in learning this and doing it for myself and now for others is, what I work with releasing is, it's called emotion code, and we release trapped emotions, and they're negative trapped emotions. We don't talk about releasing positive emotions. And how an emotion gets trapped, as opposed to, oh, I'm feeling sad today, I'm feeling angry today. How it gets trapped is that it's it becomes overwhelming, or I don't have time to filter it through, or as a young child, I didn't understand it, or all of us are so busy, we can't necessarily take the time to process every emotion that we have. So it's not every emotion. Sure, we work through our emotions, we accept them, we deal with them, we move forward. But sometimes things get trapped in us. And these kinds of things form how they stay in the body, they form how we function in the universe. And sometimes we need to move past that, and we want to move past that. So doing this kind of energy work, and I'm using the word energy, that's how it's used. And I will share what my thoughts are about energy in a second. But when we're able to release some of these things that are trapped in our past, things that sometimes we can talk about in therapy, but sometimes they're part of our subconscious and they live in our body. When we release them, sometimes we're able to move on in a new and more beautiful and more whole way. That's kind of reaching toward our highest self, or I'd like to say our most geuludic self, or our sense of purpose in this universe. Things that are holding us back, that then this can help release us. So when I talk about energy, and I do this work on the phone, like here we're long distance, I think some of you who are looking can see my face. I don't even do that when I do this work. I'm on the phone with people. And what we do is we're doing energy work. I don't need to be with them physically. But as I've started, and I worked with somebody who teaches Hasidus as we did this. So in the work, as I'm doing it, I know that this energy being in everything is Hashem in everything. It's equal to that. It doesn't, energy in and of itself doesn't mean anything. It's Hashem in everything. And so when we're using something like this visualization with the golden light of Hashem, do I talk to each person as if they know who Hashem is? I mean, mostly I work with frum women, but I try to do it in terms that they can relate to. And it is a very, very godly, allowing Hashem in kind of process. And as we release negative things in people's lives, and they are released through different work that we do, really the answer becomes, and is so clear, that the only reason that we have defensiveness, that we have certain sadness, et cetera, is because in that moment that we're experiencing it, we're not always able to turn it over to Hashem, to say, Hashem, here is this thing that I cannot and should not hold. You need to hold it for me. So if I am being defensive, walking around the world being defensive, which may have been something that I learned in childhood in a home where people talk a certain way, or if I may be trying to think of some of the emotions, I don't have it in front of me, but some kind of negative way that I have of dealing with the world, Hashem can hold it. And I don't need to hold this resentment or this bitterness, perhaps, that I'm moving forward with. I can hand it over to Hashem. So how do we do that? It's not so easy. It's easier said than done. And to work on it in our lives so that it can be turned over to Hashem, that there's a flow. Obviously, there's a flow. We just get in the way. How do we get in the way? How do we block that tzohar, that light? We block it by putting us in the way. And sure, Hashem is letting us see ourselves as separate, with talents, with things to offer the world. But if my talent of acting, if my talent of teaching, if my talent of being a doctor, whatever that is about me and about what I can do, and even about what I can serve the world with. Even that, if we lose sight of I am serving Hashem, of I am being a vessel of Hashem in this work, in what I see as my mission at this point in my life, then we're missing something and we're blocking something. So to keep becoming aware of Hashem in everything, of handing over to Hashem the difficulties, and I would say, also handing over what he's shown me to be my talents. And those are signposts. Those are signposts of my mission as well. Like, what am I meant to do? So girls are coming to our seminary and they may say, well, okay, I like doing these things. I don't know what my talent is. Or another girl might be coming with a very well-developed talent for painting or for music. And the point that we try to give over to them in the year as they bring together and express Torah and Hasidus through their arts and through utilizing the piece of themselves that they're growing and developing and seeing, is that I'm a vessel and I'm meant to serve with this vessel. And it's not that I need to be an artist or I need to serve Hashem as an artist. I could be anything and do anything. Most of all, Amir Hashem, I'll be a Jewish mother, but all of the talents that Hashem has given me and shown me, and I'm exploring during this year, and it's a great year of exploration for them, is that I have certain talents to utilize, whether it's directly for that art or it's in being with the world. And so those are signposts toward what are the powers that Hashem has given me in order to be a vessel for spreading Hashem in the world, for revealing Hashem in the world. Really, Hashem is in all the energy, in everything. And we are only here, and certainly Chassidus says, our job is here to be a dira b'tachtonim, to be an apartment, a home for Hashem in this world. And that's the reason for our creation, to reveal Hashem even more. We see ourselves in the mirror, but with a light, with being a light, there's no blockage of that silver. We're free to both receive the light and to give out the light. So I Nomi, do I have time to do another meditation? I don't know what time I'm at. I'm really not watching.
Go ahead, Amy. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to end with another kind of meditation that I start with my students. And it's the very beginning of the year. They first learn from their main rabbi that they learn Hasidus with. They learn about the tzohar. And it's something along the lines of what I've shared with you today. Certainly about the tefillah of both receiving and making the space, being a keli for receiving Hashem's light and Hashem's wisdom, and then also being able to be a vessel to spread, like the stone, to spread their light out. So afterwards, I freak them out a little bit by doing a visualization. They're young women, they're coming in, they're not used to doing this in their yeshivas. And so we get together and we close our eyes and we start the year this way. And so again, I'll ask you if you're comfortable to close your eyes or just relax if that's not comfortable. And I'd like you to imagine that you're in a space, you can feel yourself, but you can't see anything. Everything is dark. Everything is dark around you. That's hard to do when we even have light outside of our eyes. But try to imagine the picture of it if you can't imagine yourself physically in it. Picture of just darkness. And you can feel that you're in the corner of a room. There's no furniture. You're just in the corner of a room, but you can't see anything. It's pitch black. And then a sliver of light comes in from above. And with that sliver of light, just that little bit, you can start to see the shape of this square, very plain room, almost box-like, not very big. but you can start to see the shape of it around you. And maybe you can even see your feet. And the light starts to come in. And then imagine that the light gets blocked out again and you're in the dark. There's another light coming, and it's kind of from you. It's almost like maybe you're Pintalayid, and there's a little light coming from the center of your body. And even in there by yourself, you can kind of see a little bit of the room just from you. And now that light from above, again, is filtering in. And what you're seeing now is this piece of ceiling, like a square piece in the middle, is kind of flying off. You're seeing like a square skylight above you. And as it flies away, you see a beautiful, beautiful stream of light coming in, bright light. And it helps you breathe better too, as you see that light come in from above. And as you move under the skylight and you look at the sky and you start to get comfortable looking up at light, you see a sky, a blue sky with sun and clouds. And you find yourself being drawn to the sky. Now, this is our imagination. We know this doesn't happen in our daily lives, but I'm asking you to use your imagination here. So you're attracted to the sky and the light, and your body, imagine your body flying up out of this box-like room, up into the sky, the blue sky with the sunshine and the clouds. Imagine the most beautiful day, and your body is just floating in the sky and this light. And as you look around and see this beautiful blue sky and the clouds, you start to float ahead. And I'd like you to see yourself in a small town, and you're flying up above the buildings. Maybe it's your town, maybe it's where you are now. And you can see your home, you can see your streets. But even more so, you enjoy looking forward in the sky and at the clouds, because this is new. We haven't experienced this before. We're floating. Our body weight is very light. We feel very floaty, very at peace. And now we're floating away above some green hills, mountains even. And for some of you, you might like to envision that you're flying above water. Whatever makes you comfortable, whatever makes you happy, I'd like you to envision that now. For me, it's green hills, rolling hills. And I'd like you to imagine yourself floating in the sky above these green hills, and smelling the air and seeing birds even pass you by. And as you fly over the green hills or whatever landscape that you choose, I'd like you to see in the distance, a road, maybe a dirt road. And as you see that path, you start to see a home or houses or buildings, whatever you choose. It could be a lone house in the distance. And you start to get lower to see the road and to see the path and to see that one particular home or building, either amongst buildings or amongst trees. And you come into a soft landing on your feet, and you're able to walk down that path. And you're still a distance away, but as you walk down that path and you see that house or that building, you notice that there's a green door. And you're walking. And as you get closer, the home gets closer, the building gets closer, the door gets closer. And here you are, all of a sudden, right at the front of this house or this building with the green door. And as green means go, you have permission to enter. And you're going to open the door and enter into this space. And the question is, what do you see as you open the door? What's there as a part of your life, or as a part of your life to be? And as you move into the space, you're bringing your light along with you. So there is some light in the space. It's not a blackened space, but you're lighting it up even more. And as you light up that space, I'd like you to notice, what are you drawn to in the room? Are there people there? What colors do you see? What sounds do you see? What smells do you see? Do you smell? And if you're in touch with a person, what is your interaction like? And I'd like you to interact with that person if you have that person. If you're there alone, interact with an object. And either that person or that object, let yourself really fully see that person or that object. And now, let that object or that person really see you. Really let yourself be seen. And so there's a flow of seeing and being seen. And as you move through that space, through that place that you've chosen somewhere in your mind's eye, I'd like you to go to somewhere that feels like it's yours. And place yourself there as a place to talk to Hashem, to feel his light forever outside of you and allowing his light inside of you in every pore of your body, holding you so that you don't have to hold the negative. You don't have to hold the pain, so that you can give it over to Hashem. And imagine yourself also shining the light that Hashem has filtered through you, because all of it is Hashem's light, really. That Hashem has filtered, and the small part of it that you've been able to receive, that you feel it in every pore of your body, in every breath, and that you're able to share it with the world around you, your piece of Hashem's light. And so through this, you will create a tzohar in letting Hashem's light into your life, and in sharing your godly mission, your godly purpose, your precious stone shining its light out into the world. And we're all a part of Hashem and Hashem's light. Whenever you're comfortable and you feel ready, you can open your eyes and be here in this time, in this place, in this light, ready to share your light, Hashem's light, ready to let it in, ready to let Hashem hold you, and to be a light to the world, and as a vessel for Hashem. Thank you. And I hope I haven't taken up too much time. I really, when I get into this, I'm not watching the clock. So thank you.